Hi Daniel, how are you?
Oh, hello, Amber. I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. How are things been going? How's your week been?
My week has been a little blah. Um, just work, school, family, all the stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely understand that. Anything crazy happened this week that you want to talk about?
Nothing too crazy. It's the anniversary of my dad dying, and so I've been in my head on
Yeah.
that a little bit. And there's been some stuff come up with some payments that are due, so I'm stressing a little bit, but I'll manage. I'm doing all right.
Oh, good. I'm glad that you're managing. Well, before we get started with our weekly check-in, I just have to go over my informed consent, but you've been seeing me every week, so you know the drill. Um, Threat to self or others, especially if it's like imminent risk or danger to yourself, that's something that I would have to report, especially with child abuse, elderly abuse, or vulnerable adults. That's something, any type of neglect or abuse going on with that, that's something that I'd also have to report. Same with any like professional obligations. So anything that's court ordered, any probation officer, any type of thing like that. But any questions about anything of that?
No. I mean, I'm free to talk about myself and
Yeah,
but as long as I'm not looking to hurt anybody or
or
actually hurting
yourself.
anybody,
Yeah.
then we can keep that between us, right?
hmm Yeah, absolutely. As long as you're not, but as long as I'm not afraid for you to leave this office with hurting yourself or anybody else, and you're free to tell me anything that will stay here except for those limits of confidentiality. But other than that, we can talk about anything you want to talk about today.
Great.
So with that, okay, perfect. With that, let's get started with our check-in. How's your anxiety been this week from like a 1 to 10? What's that been like?
I mean, during the week it's been up there. I would say right now it's about a 7.
Okay, okay. Is that like your average or is that like a peak you've been at a 7 and then you've been lower
I'd say
or
it fluctuates, but I'd say that's probably the average. I felt like I've maxed out at a 10 for little 5 minute stretches here and there, but I kind of calm myself
okay,
down and then I go down to a 5 or whatever. Right? I'd say 7, 8 is probably where I'm lingering.
okay. Sounds like 7 is about consistent for the week then. Okay. Have you had any triggers with that?
It's like I mentioned before, money. Money is always a big
Yeah.
anxiety driving force for me. Just worrying about keeping the lights on and food on the table, stuff like that.
Oh
But
yeah.
I always seem to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, with all of that stress and everything, how's your depression been? Like 1 to 10. Has it been pretty high as well?
Yeah, so yeah, I would go about the same. 8. I feel like I'm generally kind of floating in a depressed state, and then I
Yeah.
get anxious and kind of bounce back and forth. But yeah, I'm right there about an 8 also with depression.
Okay. And then how's your sleep been? Like what's your average been?
Um, we talked about my that sleep app. I'm trying to get 8 hours a week or 8 hours a night, but
Yeah.
I'm probably averaging
hmm
4. I'm
Okay.
getting to sleep. It's taking me a while to fall asleep, and then the sleep's not good quality sleep, and then but then I have to drag myself out of bed, and I understand that's kind of part of the depression but
Yeah.
I'm 4 hours. Sleep's crummy.
Sounds like you're a little bit lower too. Normally when we talk, you're average about 6 or 7. So 4 is a little bit concerning, especially if your quality of sleep, if you're waking up, things like that. It kind of seems like it's gone down a little bit since the last time I saw you.
I would say certainly has.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's definitely something we want to talk about. What about any actions of self-harm, any thoughts of that, or any thoughts of suicide? What about either of those?
I've not thought about hurting myself so much. I have, I guess it would be ideation. I like to fantasize about going to sleep and not waking up and just drifting off and having
Mhm.
a sweet sleep. And but I don't but thought of like hanging myself or shooting myself in the head or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I think with some of those answers, I think we need to dive a little bit deeper into that. So I'm going to pass it over to Marlene, and she's going to ask you a couple of questions, okay?
Cool. Hi, Marlon.
Hi, Daniel. I hope you feel better now that you've talked with Emma a little bit more about your problems. We are going to go over some questions from the CSSRS. The first question is, have you wished you were dead or wished you didn't wake up?
Yeah, not dead. I think dead would be damaging to others, but just for myself, I think about not waking up all the time if I had the choice.
Have you actually had any thoughts of killing yourself?
No, no.
No. Have you ever done anything or started anything, planned anything about ending your life?
Yeah, I've never gotten to the point where I've put together a plan or what I would do or how I'd actually go about it. I'm kind of a wimp in that, like, I don't like pain, so I don't not. I always fear that if I tried to do something like that, I would fail at it, and then I would end up worse off. And the bigger thing is just I care about people in my life, and I think suicide leaves a wake of destruction behind it, and I don't want to do that to anyone else. So no, I don't ever let it. I've never gotten to the point where I've put together a plan or thought about steps towards offering myself.
I can definitely tell that you really do care about your family and yourself as well. And I admire that.
Yeah.
And based on the questions I answered, well, you answered, you're actually at a low risk. And it's very good. But definitely there's some concerns about you not wanting to wake up. Maybe some more meditations or some coping skills that you could do to better that, you know?
Yeah, I don't really sit in those thoughts for too long. I kind of go, um, maybe a half hour I might at the most. And I usually find a way to get out of it. But yeah, meditating's been good for me.
Mm.
Uh, I watch TV. I play video games. But yeah, I'm feeling like I've got we've worked on those coping skills here, and
Oh, yeah.
I bought that little diffuser with the essential oils. It's kind of
Oh,
weird,
yeah.
I haven't.
Oh, those are great. That's a
But
great
yeah,
way to
I'm
have some,
smells I like, and it's kind of fun.
yeah, that's a great way to kind of bring peace into your space, I think. I think that's a great way to incorporate something like that. When you're having those thoughts, how frequently are you having them? You said for about 30 minutes, so know how long,
I
but
guess
how
the
frequently
duration
throughout
is
the week?
probably about that long. Anywhere from 5 minutes might become a fleeting thought, and then like a half hour max. But I'm probably it's. I mean, I go there daily. I've definitely had to put myself in a little meditation timeout at least once or twice a day for the past
Mm,
few weeks.
Okay.
right.
Is there anything specific that you like to do?
In my meditations.
Yeah, or just in general, like maybe a
Yeah, no,
favorite.
I light some incense. I kind of take this hippie vibe on. I burn
Love it.
patchouli, and I
Mm-hmm.
have this a few different playlists on SoundCloud that I've downloaded, and there's
Okay.
sometimes it's wind chimes and monks humming and stuff, but it's kind of fun to get in that space and
Good.
removes that
I think you
the you
should
know.
do it.
How about
Okay.
you? Do you
Sure.
meditate?
Sorry?
I do.
Did either of you have any meditation tips? Anything you like to do in that practice?
Hmm.
I definitely like I think a good meditation is when like you just focus on like one body part and then you just go and switch to another body part and it's just like yep, like just focus on something else rather than your thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know if they call it somatic or somatic or something like that. But yeah, if I have a pain, I can kind of I'll focus my breath and think I'm taking the oxygen there to remove pain. It actually works, so I like doing it.
You should definitely do that then more often. I think that would help you
Yeah,
a
those
lot.
are great. Yeah. Okay, should we debrief and talk about our client? And I
Yes, we
think
should.
Daniel,
Let me get some feedback. I think that it went well. I felt comfortable. I felt supported. Um, I like that you both showed interest in what I was saying. Um, I think these role plays can be awkward at times, but I think we're jumping in and out of it. So you guys' screens just clicked. Maybe it was just mine from my iPad. Um, but I thought it went well. What do you guys think? How was I as a patient? Was I believable?
yeah, I think you did great. And I think you talked about coping skills. You talked about a lot of protective factors, which are great. You talked about your family and, that you wouldn't take action because you had that family, which I think is a real thing that people really focus on when they're thinking about ending their life. They think about the people around them. So I think that's huge to mention. So I think that was great.
Yeah.
I also think you did great. I think like if I didn't know this was a role play, definitely like I would have thought you were an actual client. Like I think this went well. I think I kind of just forgot about the whole script and just kind of was myself. And I think it
Yeah, and I
was
think that was great.
I did it.
Yeah, I
Definitely
Yeah,
think
did
you
it.
did really good. I think it was really good. And I think overall I liked doing it because then I feel more comfortable like doing it again. So it was kind of nice.
I think it was nice.
Okay, well, thanks for watching.
what's our timer at?
I did it for I did it for 14 minutes.